It was a beautiful July morning when my friends and I decided to go boating. The coast of Florida had always given us unforgettable days, and that day seemed to promise the same. The sun was shining high in the blue sky, the wind was light, and the sea was calm. We set sail early, eager to enjoy the crystal-clear waters and abundant fishing. Our boat, a modest but sturdy recreational vessel, had always brought us luck. We headed to a well-known fishing spot, laughing and chatting along the way. The day looked perfect. Around noon, however, the weather began to change. Dark clouds appeared on the horizon, and soon the wind picked up. We didn't worry at first, being used to Florida's sudden weather changes. But when the sea started to swell and the wind began to howl, we realized we were in for something serious. We hurried back to the coast, but the storm caught us by surprise with unexpected violence. Huge waves crashed against the boat, shaking it like a leaf in the wind. The driving rain reduced visibility to a few meters, and the wind howled like a raging demon. I remember the terror on my friends' faces as we desperately tried to keep the boat upright, but it was useless. A particularly high wave hit us with devastating force, capsizing the boat. I felt the icy water as I was thrown overboard, and a sharp pain as my body hit something hard. Then, everything went black. When I woke up, I found myself in a completely different place. There was no more storm noise nor the cold of the water. I was lying on a golden prairie, with grass gently swaying under a light breeze. The sky was a deep blue, without a cloud on the horizon, and a warm, enveloping light surrounded me. I slowly got up, confused and disoriented. I didn't understand where I was or how I got there. Everything around me was extraordinarily vivid and real, yet I felt like I was in a dream. I tried to remember what had happened, but the memories were fragmented and confused. I remembered the storm, the boat capsizing, and then nothing. As I looked around, I saw a figure approaching. At first, it looked like just an indistinct silhouette against the bright light. But as it got closer, I could make out the features of a man. He had a serene and kind face, and his eyes sparkled with a light I'd never seen before. "Welcome," he said with a warm and reassuring voice. "I'm glad you're here." I looked at him, even more confused. "Where am I? Who are you?" The man smiled, radiating a sense of peace that immediately calmed me. "You are in a place of transition between life and what comes after. I am Jesus." His statement left me speechless. I wasn't a particularly religious person, though I had always believed in something greater than myself. But finding myself face to face with Jesus in such an unreal place was beyond anything I had ever imagined. Jesus invited me to follow him, and we walked through the prairie. Each step seemed laden with deep meaning, as if I were traversing not just a physical space, but also a spiritual one. As we walked, Jesus spoke to me with a sweetness and understanding that deeply moved me. "You are here because you need to understand something very important," he said. "Your life on earth is precious, and there are lessons you need to learn to truly appreciate the gift you've been given." We continued walking until we reached a majestic tree whose branches created a pleasant shade. We sat at its base, and Jesus began to show me visions of my life. I saw my moments of joy and sorrow, my victories and defeats, but above all, I saw how my actions had affected the people around me. "Every life is intertwined with others," Jesus explained. "Every gesture, every word, every choice has an impact. You have the power to make a difference, to bring light or darkness into the world." His words made me reflect deeply. I realized how often I had taken the people around me for granted, and how many opportunities I had wasted to do good. I felt overwhelmed by sadness and remorse, but Jesus took my hand and looked at me with infinite compassion. "It's never too late to change," he said. Now you have the chance to go back and live with awareness and love. Use this experience to rediscover the pleasure of life, to appreciate every moment, and to be a source of joy and hope for others. With these words, I felt enveloped by a warm and embracing light. The golden prairie began to fade, and a feeling of lightness and peace came over me. Then, slowly, I began to perceive the world around me, the sound of the waves, the cold of the water, and finally, the voices of my friends. I opened my eyes and saw the worried faces of my friends around me. I was lying on the beach, trembling and soaking wet. I felt a sharp pain in my body, but there was also a sense of relief and gratitude. I was alive. I was taken to the hospital, where doctors told me I was lucky. I had sustained some injuries, but nothing irreparable. My friends had managed to save me just in time. As I recovered, I thought back to the encounter with Jesus and his words. I realized I'd been given a second chance, and I didn't intend to waste it. In the days and weeks that followed, I began to see life with new eyes. Every day was a gift, and every moment was precious. I started making more conscious choices, dedicating more time to the people I loved, and looking for ways to help others. Reconnecting with my family and friends was one of the first things I did. I organized gatherings and dinners where we shared laughs and stories. I realized how isolated I had become over the years, too focused on work and daily problems. Now, however, I saw the importance of cultivating genuine and meaningful relationships. I also felt the need to give back to the community. I started volunteering at a soup kitchen and participating in local aid projects. Discovering how much I could do for others filled me with a joy I had never known before. Every smile, every gesture of gratitude I received reminded me of Jesus' words and gave me the strength to continue. One of the most touching moments was when I met a man who had been living on the streets for many years. I listened to his story and helped him find shelter and a job. Seeing his life transform was a profoundly moving experience and made me realize how important it is not to judge, but rather to lend a hand and offer support. My experience also led me to explore my spirituality in ways I had never considered before. I began attending a local church and participating in Bible study groups. I wanted to better understand Jesus' message and find a way to integrate his teachings into my daily life. I found comfort and inspiration in the words of the scriptures and in the community that welcomed me warmly. Every day, I prayed and meditated, trying to maintain that deep connection I had experienced in the Golden Prairie. I realized that faith was not just a matter of beliefs, but a way of living, a path of growth and love. Over time, I began to rediscover the pleasure in the small things in life. Walking on the beach at sunset, listening to the birds sing in the morning, enjoying a meal with friends and family. Every moment was an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of the world and the wonder of existence. I also dedicated myself to hobbies I had neglected for years. I started painting again, an activity that had always brought me joy and peace. Every brushstroke was an act of gratitude, a way to express my rebirth and my new vision of life. I found inspiration in the landscapes around me and in the faces of the people I met. I felt the need to share my experience with others, hoping to inspire those who, like me, had lost sight of the true value of life. I wrote a book about my NDE and how that encounter with Jesus had transformed my existence. I participated in conferences and meetings where I told my story and listened to those of others. Every time I shared my experience, I felt a deep sense of connection and purpose. People thanked me for the courage and sincerity with which I spoke, and many told me how my words had helped them find new hope and direction. My life had changed radically. Every day was an opportunity to live with awareness, to love, and to help others. There were no more wasted days, only days lived to the fullest. My near-death experience was not just a traumatic event, but a gift that allowed me to rediscover the true pleasure of life. Gratitude had become the center of my existence. Every morning I woke up with a sense of wonder and appreciation for the simple fact of being alive. Every evening I reflected on the blessings received and how I could continue to grow and improve. Meeting Jesus in that place of light had opened my eyes to a greater reality, a reality made of love, hope, and infinite possibilities. He had taught me that life is a precious gift, to be lived with joy and a spirit of service. He had shown me that, despite difficulties and challenges, there is always a way towards the light and a better future. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and love, I continue my journey, aware that every day is an opportunity to make a difference, to love, and to live fully. Thanks to that extraordinary experience, I have rediscovered the true pleasure of life, and I am determined to live it to the fullest, inspired by the words and love of Jesus.